Okay, in your notebooks, we're going to start lesson 6.9, one-step algebraic equations. This is one of my favorite math lessons to teach. It's the building block of all algebraic equations that come after this. So my goal here is to teach you how to do the steps of a one-step algebraic equation with just addition and subtraction. You're going to get questions that you know the answer to. That's not my point today. My point is to show you the steps. Okay? So I'm going to go back to pan balances, which is what we started earlier in the chapter. Now the reason I'm going back to these is I just want to stress a couple of points. First of all, this equal sign. This equal sign meaning that whatever you put on the left side of the balance has to be equal to what's on the right side. So as long as these two sides balance at all times, you're holding true to that equal sign. So that is our goal, okay? That everything has to balance out. It has to be equal. So just a couple of things like these marbles. My whole goal is to keep the left side in balance with the right side. So you notice if I add a check mark to the left, then it's no longer balanced. But if that equal sign is there in an equation, equations have equal signs, I have to do the same thing to the other side. Just like if I take something away, like a red marble, well, if I took it away from the right side and didn't do anything else, it's not a balance. It's not balanced. It's not an equation. That equal sign, that equation, if I took a marble from the right, I have to take a marble from the left to keep everything balanced. So that's what is important about those pan balances is you have to keep both sides in balance or equal to each other at all times. Now here's another one as an example, okay? So if I put a marble and two check marks here, and then I decide to take a group of these. Okay. I'm telling you right now this is balanced. This amount over here is equal or balances out with this amount over here. I just don't know how much this marble is worth. And that's what I need to figure out. So since I don't know what that is worth, we call that our variable. That's our x because I do not know how much that is worth. So I took that marble and then I added two check marks and that equals or balances out with the 8 check marks over there. So this pan balance is equal. This left side has to equal what's on the right side. So how much is that marble worth? Well, this is like writing an algebraic equation like this. That x plus 2 equals the amount of check marks over here, which is 8. So what I have written from my pan balance here is an equation. This is an algebraic equation. Algebraic because it has a variable in it, and equation because it has an equal sign in it. That's why they're called algebraic equations. Our goal here is to solve for x. We need to figure out how much that x is worth. Okay? Now, you and I both know the answer is 6. And I told you earlier, the point of this lesson is not to teach you the answer. It's to teach you the steps first. We got to learn how to do the steps on the easy problems. So when we give you some challenging ones, you know what you're doing. Okay? So I'm going to take this equation and I'm going to go on to the next page here. Let's change this just a little bit. So that was my equation from the page before. Okay. Now we're going to go through all the steps that you have to show for an algebraic equation. All right. So here's your algebraic equation. And we're going to go through all of the steps. So step number 1 is to identify our variable. Remember, our variable is always our letter. So our variable here is the x. That's what I'm looking for, and I have to isolate it. And isolate means I need to get it by itself. I need to get it all alone. Now, if you think about that pan balance again, this is everything on the left side of my balance. The 8 is on the right side of my balance. And if I need to get x by itself, that means the only thing I want on this side is the x. Now I need to ask myself, if I want x by itself, what number has to leave? I'm going to move the number that's on the same side as the variable. Move the number that's on the same side as the variable. So if my variable is x, I'm going to move these out of the way. Now if I put a line right through my equal sign, that helps me determine what's the left side and what's the right side of my balance. So if my variable is x, the number that's on the same side is the 2. That's the number I'm going to move. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to move the 2, and I'm going to write it right underneath the 2 on the top. Big alert. If I write a 2 on the left side of my pan or my equation, remember these are separate sides, right? If I write a 2 here, this side is not this equal to this side anymore because I just wrote the 2 here. I wouldn't balance out. This side would weigh more than this side because I wrote another 2 there. So if I write a 2 on the left side, I have to do this on the other side. So if I write a 2 on the left, I have to write a 2 on the right in order to keep everything balanced. Yes, you have to write that 2 on both sides. That is extremely important, okay? Step 3, perform the inverse operation. Inverse meaning the opposite. So I'm taking a look at my original equation, and I'm going to look in front of this 2. Originally, they were adding 2 to the left side. If I do the inverse operation, the opposite of adding 2 is subtracting 2. So I have to write minus 2 on the left. Now if I write minus 2, I have to put the minus on the other side. If I don't put that little minus sign there, I'm not balanced anymore, and the whole goal is to keep this balanced. So I have a minus on this one and a minus on this one. We are going to be looking for both of those minus signs, both of those 2, or those 2's, okay? Now, I'm going to solve what I wrote down, okay? So a positive 2 and a negative 2 equals 0. Now, I'm not going to write that 0 there. I just want to show you that these 2 numbers actually cancel each other out. That's what you're looking for. Because if they cancel each other out, I accomplished my goal. I wanted to isolate the variable or get it by itself. Well, what's x plus 0? X plus 0 is just plain x, so I'm just going to write the x. I'm going to drop down this equal sign to show I still have a balance here. I still have an equation. And then I'm going to do 8 minus 2, which is 6. Okay. My variable is isolated, and I solved my equation. My final step is, does my answer make sense? Well, we said earlier that we knew the answer was 6. My goal is to show you the steps to get there. So does this make sense? I'm going to go back up to the top here. X, we said x is 6, so I'm thinking, is 6 plus 2 actually equal 8? Is that true? Yes, it is true. So my answer has to be correct. So I'm going to go through a lot more examples. My focus today is on helping you guys understand everything I'm looking for here, all of these steps, okay? So let's start with this question. Again, this is just something I do. I like to put a line right down the middle of my equation so I can see my left side and my right side. So the first step we talked about before is find your variable. My variable is x. And I want to get x all by itself. So what else is sitting on that balance with x? Well, 17 is sitting on that side. So I have to get rid of 17 because I want x alone. So I want to move 17. So I'm going to write 17 right below. And if I write 17 on the right side and I want to balance, I have to write 17 on the left side. So I did it to both sides. I'm going to be looking for two 17s that you wrote. Then I'm supposed to figure out what is the opposite or inverse of addition. Well, the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to write minus 17. And since I put a negative or a minus sign here, I have to put a 1 on the other side to keep everything balanced. Then I'm going to do the math. A positive 17 and a negative 17 cancel each other out. It's 0. If I get a 0 here, I know I did it correctly. And then I'm going to drop this x straight down. I'm going to bring my equal sign because this is an equation. And then I'm going to do my math over here. 54 minus 17. I'm going to borrow. 14 minus 7 is 7. 4 minus 1 is 3. My answer here is 37. Now, does that make sense? I look back up here. It says 54 is supposed to equal x, which you just said x is 37 plus 17. So I'm going to check this. 37 plus 17 should give me 54. It's just a way for me to double check my work here. 7 and 7 is 14. 3, 4, 5. Yep. 54 is what I wanted, so I did it correctly. What am I looking for on your work? I am looking for two number 17s. I'm looking for two negative signs. I'm looking for x at the bottom with an equal sign and your answer to go with it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 items is what I'm looking for. Okay. Honestly, if you get the answer as 38 or 36, I am more interested in this part of your work today than I am in the answer. The answer is important, but I'm trying to get you to show the steps. Okay. Here's another question. 42 equals 8 plus x. I'm going to draw that line down. What is my variable? My variable is x. I'm trying to get x all by itself. So what is on the same side as x? 8. 8 is on the same side. So that's the number I want to get rid of. So I'm going to write an 8 right below it. And to stay balanced, I have to put an 8 on the other side. So I've got 2 of them. Now I'm going to look in front of that 8. I don't see an operation there. Well, ask yourself, is this 8 a positive 8 or a negative 8? Well, if there's nothing there, it's a positive 8. What is the opposite or inverse of a positive 8? A negative 8. Make sure you have a negative sign on both sides so you balance out. Now I'm going to do my math. 8 minus 8 is 0. That's what I want. I want a 0. So if I get a 0, I know I'm doing something right. I'm going to bring that x straight down, x. I'm going to bring that equal sign down, and then 42 minus 8. This isn't going to let me write this very well, so 3, carry that. So 12 minus 8 is 4. 3 minus nothing is 3. My answer here is 34. Now, does that make sense? 42 equals 8 plus 34. Does that make sense? 34 plus 8. Yes, that makes sense. Again, my focus is on 2 minus signs, 2 number 8s, and then your answer at the bottom. Now, this is a subtraction problem. And why did I go from paying balances to showing steps like this? Pan balances work great for addition. They don't work so well to show you how to do subtraction. So I'm going to do the subtraction just like I showed you the steps of the last 3 problems. So I have x minus 18 equals 93. I'm going to draw that line right down my equal sign again. What is my variable? My variable is x. What number is on the same side as x? Because I want to get x by itself. Well, x is sitting with 18, so I have to get rid of the number 18. So I'm going to write it right below. 18. I'm going to write it on both sides. I have to have 2 of them. One on the left, one on the right. If I look in front of 18, I see a subtraction sign. What's the opposite or inverse of subtraction? Addition. So I'm going to make sure I write the addition sign on both sides. I have 2 of them. Now I'm going to do my math. Negative 18 and positive 18 is 0. That's exactly what I want. They cancel each other out. So I know I'm doing it right. I'm going to bring the x straight down. I'm going to bring my equal sign straight down. Now I'm going to do my math. 93 plus 18, that's 11. 9, 10, 11. My answer is 111. Now does that make sense? X is 111, so 111 minus 18. I'm going to do the math here. I'm going to borrow. 11 minus 8 is 3. I can't do this. I'm going to borrow again. 10, excuse me, minus 1 is 9. I got 93, which is what I have here, so I got it right. Perfect. So next question, I have 79 equals x minus 61. I'm going to draw my line here. My variable in this question is x, so I'm going to highlight that. I need to isolate it or get it by itself. So if I want x all by itself, what do I have to get rid of? In this situation, I have to get rid of the 61. So I'm going to drop down 61 right below the other one. And if I write a 61 on the right, I have to write 61 on the left. If I look in front of that, I see a minus sign. The opposite or inverse is an addition sign. But if I put an addition sign on the right side, I have to do it on the left side. Now, negative 61 and a positive 61 is 0, so they're gone. And I'm left with just my x. I'm going to bring it straight down. Bring down my equal sign. 79 plus 61, 9 and 1 is 10. Carry the 1. 13 plus 1 is 14, 140. So I'm thinking, does 140 minus 61 work to get 79? I'm going to check it over here. I'm going to borrow because I can't do 0 minus 1. Whoops. 10 minus 1 is 9. I can't do 3 minus 6, so I'm going to borrow again. 13 minus 6 is 7. 79. Perfect. It worked. And again, just a reminder, I am looking for 2 61s. I'm looking for 2 plus signs and your full answer. Make sure it's equal to your variable. All right, another one, a little bit bigger numbers, but I'm still going to solve it exactly the same way. Okay, I'm going to look for my variable first, right here, x. What number is on the same side as my x? It's 145, so that's the number that has to go. So I'm going to write that underneath, and if I write 145 on the left, I have to write 145 on the right. And then I'm going to look in front. It says subtraction. So the opposite or inverse of subtraction is addition. So if I write an addition on the left, I have to write addition on the right. Now I can solve. A negative 145 and a positive 145 is 0. Perfect. They cancel each other out. I did it right. I'm going to bring my x straight down. I'm going to bring my equal sign straight down. And then I'm going to do this side. 7 plus 5 is 12. 9 plus 4 is 13. Plus 1 is 14. Carry that. 2, 3, 4. My answer is 442. Now I need to think about that. Is 442 minus 145 work? 442. It's much easier to do this with a pen than it is to do with a mouse. I'm going to borrow here because I can't do 2 minus 5, so carry that. So 12 minus 5 is 7. I can't do 3 minus 4, so I'm going to borrow, carry the 1. 13 minus 4 is 9, and 3 minus 1 is 2. Perfect. 297. I got it. Fantastic. This is my last problem. Nope, I have 2 left. Okay. Next one, I'm going to draw my line down the middle. Finding my variable. My variable is h. What number is on the same side as my variable? 362 has to go. I'm going to write it on both sides. Okay. In front of that is this addition sign. The opposite is a subtraction sign. I have 2 minus signs or subtraction signs that have 2 numbers here. So a negative 362 and a positive 362 is 0. Perfect. They cancel each other out, so I did it right. I'm going to bring down my h straight down. Bring my equals straight down. And then I'm going to go ahead and do subtraction. 3 minus 2 is 1. 8 minus 6 is 2. And 6 minus 3 is 3. Now, does that make sense? Is 321 plus 362 equal 683? Let's see if we get it here. Plus. So that would be 3. That would be 8. That would be 6. Yes, it does match, so I did it right. One more. Drawing my line down here. I'm looking for my variable. My variable here is x. So what number is on the same side as my x? 207. So I'm going to move 207. I'm going to write it on both sides. Okay. Look in front, I see a minus sign, so the opposite or inverse of subtraction is addition. I'm going to make sure I have 2 of those, 1 on each side. And I'm going to do my math. Negative 207 and a positive 207 is 0. So they cancel each other out. So I got that right. I'm going to bring my x straight down. I'm going to bring my equal sign straight down. And I'm going to add these 2 numbers. There's 9, 2, and 3. Now, does this work? Does this actually make sense? So x, we're going to write 329 minus 207. I'm trying to get 122 here. 9 minus 7 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. And 3 minus 1 is 2 minus 3 minus 2 is 1. Perfect. I got it. Again, when you turn in your homework tomorrow, I am looking for 2 207s. I'm looking for 2 plus signs. And I'm looking for x equals, or your x equals over here. If your x is on the left when you start, it better be on the left when you're done. If your x is on the right when you start, it better be on the right when you're done. Okay? You can't always put the x over here. It's got to come straight down from where it started. Straight down from where it started. Straight down from where it started. That is a big deal. Maybe it doesn't seem like it now, but it'll be a big deal later. Okay? So, your homework for tomorrow is a worksheet. I'm going to hand that out The thing you got to remember is you have to show every single step, meaning you need to have this number written down 2 times. You have to have that operation written down 2 times, and you got to have your answer like that. Okay, anything less than that, we're going to have to redo. Here's the deal. My job is to get you ready for more challenging problems next year. So if you can't do these and show your steps perfectly on these easy ones, then we can't move forward to the next challenge. So it's got to look perfect just like that. So good luck, and I will see you guys on class the next day. Thanks.